Okay, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at ISEP Central. We're coming to you from Washington, D.C. We have the whole ambassador team here, really excited to start working with you. So what we're going to do first is we're going to introduce ourselves so you know who we are and who you'll be working with throughout the semester. And then we'll get started with some of the training components. So I'll start. My name is Nancy Campbell. I am the Director of European Programs and Director of the Northeast United States. And I'm going to pass you to Chris.
Yes. My name is Chris. I'm the graphic designer and social media specialist here at ISEP Central. So I manage all of our social media networks and look forward to interacting with you guys there, and also work with some of our printed materials. So I might have heard from some of you all as we are working on building our new catalog. So be on the lookout for that too. And I will turn it over to Zoe.
Hi, my name is Zoe. I currently manage the ISEP or ambassadors at ISEP email. So I may have communicated with some of you in terms of your welcome forms or any other questions that you had. I'm the communications and marketing manager.
Hello, and I am Jeanne d'Arc Gomis. I am the Director of Africa and Middle East Program. I might have communicated with some of you. I am also responsible for the Central Southeast USA. So we are delighted to have you with us today and look forward to continuing working with you.
Hi everyone, I'm Kaylee Smazniak. I'm the program officer for Scandinavia and the Baltics. I've been reading a lot of applications lately, so I work with students who are either going to or are coming from the Scandinavia and Baltic region.
Hey everybody, my name is Alex Proimos. I am the program officer for ISEP Direct program. And so I think to start, we're going to hand it to Nancy.
Thank you, sir. Okay, everyone. So again, thank you so much for being here. We have a lot of things to show you on our computer, so there's going to be some switching back and forth of screens, so just bear with us as we do that. So, oh yes, I've been reminded to tell you that you're going to have questions and comments throughout the presentation. There should be a bar underneath the screen where you can put your comments. We're monitoring them. We will answer all of your questions at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to just keep them coming as you think of them. All right, and I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint. All right, there we go. Okay, so I'm hoping you can see our PowerPoint right now. I'm going to just start with establishing a few expectations, things that you can expect of ISEP Central, but also things that we'll expect of you as ambassadors. So the first question, what does it mean to be a student ambassador? You probably know a little bit about it since you applied, but what we really want from you as ambassadors is to promote the value of study abroad to your fellow students. There are a lot of students out there who don't think they can do it for many reasons, financial, working it into their academic schedule, it's just too intimidating to go live in a different country. So it's so important for students who have already studied abroad to really encourage other students on campus that they can also be a part of such an amazing experience. We want you also to speak as much as you can about your story and your experience. It's a really wonderful way to start to process some of the things you learned while abroad in reflecting upon the differences in your host culture now that you're back in your home culture. And then finally, just being a champion for ISEP itself and the kind of study abroad programs we offer. Alex is going to talk a little bit about that and who we are and what we pride ourselves on. But the ISEP program is a specific one, and you chose it for a reason. So really emphasizing why the ISEP program was a good fit for you and why it would be a good fit for others. So in being an ambassador, there are going to be a lot of activities that you can be involved with, as much or as little as you want, but we do expect a certain number of activities. We do also know that your schedules are quite busy, so we want this to be flexible and work within your schedules. So we're going to have monthly contests that we will prompt you on to help you think of some ideas and ways to get involved. The main thing that we'll start off with is our study abroad fairs, or for those of you who don't have study abroad fairs, possibly information sessions for students interested in ISEP. This is a great way to talk to a lot of people at once and really share your experience. And then finally, we'll ask that you document the activities that you do in an activity log, and later Kaylee's going to show you exactly where that is and how to fill that out. All right, and then this doesn't go one way. You can expect a lot from us as well. We'll be sending you t-shirts and materials to help you get started. These t-shirts you can wear at your study abroad fairs, your information sessions, any classroom presentations you might do. We're here to support you. You've seen us, you know we're here. You can be in touch with us at any time. We're happy to help you think through some of your ideas, give you some ideas, and support you in any way that we can. You'll hear from us probably on about a monthly basis, maybe more frequently, just to introduce you to the contest of the month and just to check in and see how you guys are doing. You may receive a special request from a staff member to speak about your experience on webinars. We often host webinars for prospective students and coordinators to help bring awareness to certain programs and some of the benefits that we offer. And then finally, you can expect some professional development help from us. We are going to talk to you about how you can put this on your resume, how you can use it in job interviews, and again, Kaylee is going to go into more detail about what that might look like. So now I'm going to pass it over to Alex, and Alex is going to talk to you about some of the frequently asked questions that you might get when talking about ISEP.
Thanks, Nancy. Okay, everybody, so as you can see, this picture here on the screen is of our 2013-14 Ambassador of the Year, Natalie Ferguson, and she's giving a presentation to a study abroad information session. She's using her customizable PowerPoint. She's wearing her cool ISEP t-shirt that Zoe mentioned earlier that you guys will be getting soon. And you know, this is kind of the thing, one of the actions and activities we're hoping that you as ambassadors will get involved in, talking to students face to face, kind of giving them some information about the programs and how to go abroad. So, like I said, we want to get a lot of students talking to other students in order to dispel the myths that Nancy mentioned earlier about study abroad being overly expensive or that it adds time to your academic career, things like that. So, actually, our programs, our exchange programs, cost no more than the home tuition of the home institution, and our direct programs are some of the most affordable in the market. So, I guess one of the big questions that you're going to be getting is, what is the difference between exchange and direct? And so the two main differences between the programs are how you pay and where you go. So like I said, in ISEP Exchange, students are paying their home university's tuition, room and board, and all of their financial aid transfers, and they're able to go study abroad at one of the institutions that they've applied for. Whereas with ISEP Direct, students are paying a fee, and most financial aid is transferring over. And the fees vary by institution. It depends on the location, the costs at that university. So where you go on ISEP Exchange depends on the availability and the competition for that particular semester at each institution. Whereas for ISEP Direct, your chances of placement are excellent at all locations, provided that you meet all criteria, and that criteria is typically things like GPA. So a further difference of exchange and direct is the program offerings while you're abroad. So in most cases, exchange students are able to take most or any of the courses that are available to regular students of that host institution, which is the same for direct, but there are also some special individualized programs that are available exclusively to direct students that are language focused or sometimes field of study focused. I know we have an international relations focused program for direct students in the Czech Republic. And through Direct, we also have the Global Engagement Programs, which are programs that are centered around volunteer work, service learning for academic credit, independent study, community service, internships, and research projects. So it's a more hands-on approach for those students that are looking for that kind of experience. And finally, another big difference between Exchange and Direct is the application process in terms of the flexibility of and the deadlines of when you apply. So for Exchange, the deadlines are going to be earlier. September 1st for spring students and February 15th are the priority deadlines for fall students. Whereas for Direct, every program has its own deadline, and some are as late as December 1st for spring programs and June 15th for fall programs. So students are going to ask you where they can go. So ISEP has a network of over 150 schools in almost 50 countries. Lots of schools in the United States as well for international students that are listening right now. A comprehensive list can be found online on our website. You can go up to the top right corner of the screen, and there's a full list of universities by US, by international region, and then direct programs as well. Students for Exchange and Direct can list up to 10 programs with varying levels of competitiveness, which we encourage for Exchange since there are limited placements and limited availability in those schools. And just to remind you, for Direct, there's always an excellent chance of placement. So one last question that students might ask you are how they can get involved with the community outside of the classroom. So ISEP does offer some activities and trips and things of that nature outside of the classroom while you're abroad, but for the most part, we encourage the independent experience of the student, for the students to take advantage of clubs that are available through ISEP as an ISEP student at that host institution, to find what interests them, to use the resources that are available to them. So it's really an independent, immersive experience that students can tailor to their own interests. And finally, one question students might ask you is if ISEP offers any internship or volunteer opportunities. It depends on the program, but for the most part, you can look in the directory pages of each individual school, and you'll get more information about what specific opportunities are available. Sometimes there are internships that you can get course credit for, volunteer opportunities in the community. It's a good way to increase your language abilities and get to know the locals and get more involved with the local culture. So I've spoken enough, and I'm going to pass it to Zoe, my good friend Zoe, and she's going to tell you all about the activities that you can take part in.
Thank you, Alex. So as Alex said, my name is Zoe. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about activities as well as with my colleague Jeanne d'Arc. First of all, I want to mention you guys have gotten emails from us, and you should know whether you are an on-campus ambassador or an online ambassador. Basically, the only difference is that in addition to working with ISEP, on-campus ambassadors can also contact their home coordinators, your study abroad advisor, to help with promotional activities on campus, especially because promotional activities on campus often require the help of a coordinator to organize, book a room, things like that. So Jeanne d'Arc is going to talk a little bit more about what you can do in terms of planning on-campus activities, and she has a lot of experience as working as a study abroad advisor on campuses and working with peer advisors. She can tell you all about that.
Thank you, Zoe. For those of you who have signed up to work on campus, it's all about identifying where assistance is needed on your campus. So the first step is to reach out to your home university study abroad coordinator or study abroad advisor and understand where they need you to help them with. You can work with your study abroad coordinator to make presentations. Those presentations can be during information sessions, they can be classroom presentations, they can be residence hall presentation. You can also present at clubs or organizations on campus. So all of those are venues where you can share your study abroad experience, but you might not be able to do it alone. It takes coordination, and that coordination can be done in collaboration with your study abroad advisor. So the first step is to reach out for those of you who have not connected with your advisor as of yet. I would start with information sessions. Not all campuses might offer weekly information session. Find out what the dates are and offer to speak for 5 or 10 minutes about your study abroad experience. These are students who are contemplating the idea of going abroad and who might not know how they can go about selecting a destination, selecting a university, and submitting an application. Given that you have been through the process, they will very much benefit from your experience and from your guidance. So as you make these presentations, you also can collect email addresses of the students and share those with the study abroad office so that they can follow up with the student. It's all about outreach because it takes planning to be able to study abroad from the very first day that you meet with the students. Residence Hall presentation will take some compiling of the contact information of RAs that you might be able to work on that project, or you can check with your study abroad coordinator how you can go about getting the contact information of the residence hall. But they usually have programs, and during those programs they will love to hear about study abroad, and that is a population that has not been tapped into by study abroad offices. And you being you being a help to those offices, you are able to reach out to the student population that ISEP here we are not necessarily able to reach out to. And as far as study abroad fairs are concerned, those are really fun events because you meet with programs from all over the place and you meet with students who are interested in going abroad. As ISEP ambassadors, find out what the study abroad fair dates are and ask to represent ISEP at those fairs. You will be provided with a t-shirt and some materials so that you can have those and distribute them to students. Ask to be paired up with a student who is from your host country or the institution where you studied at. If possible, ask to have a contact table on your own and present those beautiful ISEP materials. Those are always welcome by students. So also one piece of advice is to plan to arrive early and set up. And one of the things that you might want to share during study abroad fair are pictures and videos of your ISEP experience. While you're talking, it's always helpful for students to see visuals of your experience abroad, and they can do so if you share your pictures and share your videos. One more reason to advise them also while they go abroad to take pictures and take videos. Finally, I'd like to talk about welcoming international students on campus. When you studied abroad, remember that very first day when you might feel at a loss and you don't know many people there. Having that helping hand, that support that can help you navigate the system would be really welcoming. So the same way we ask that you try to engage with international students, and one way to do it is to volunteer with your study abroad offices. You can help with airport pickup, campus tour, residence hall, check-in, shopping for basic needs, etc., etc. The list is really limitless. Stay in touch with international students. This is a way to help international students integrate in the culture of your campus. And as a former international student, I really appreciate it very much when a university student invited me to spend Thanksgiving at their house, and the 4th of July and Halloween holidays, all those great holidays that I would not have had the experience to enjoy if I did not spend them with the host family. So that being said, I will give the floor to Zoe, who will talk to you about being involved with online.
Thank you, Jeanne d'Arc. So as Jean-Darc mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what activities you can participate in online. Just as a reminder, if you have any questions that come up that you think of, maybe we said something and it's unclear, or you want to learn more about it, please leave a comment. There's a little box under the video that says, say something, so you can say something. Great. So in terms of participating in online activities, there are a number of things you can do. We have a Facebook group that you might be familiar with, and chances are you are already part of it. There's about 10,000 students, alumni, current, and hopefully prospective as well, who participate in this Facebook group. It's called ISEP, International Student Exchange Programs. It is a closed group, so you have to request to join the group. But what we would love for you to do as an ISEP Student Ambassador is to go and answer questions about, either your home university or the place where you studied abroad, because there are many people who have questions about what it's like. The great thing about it being a closed group is that you can share your insights and your feedback honestly as possible. The thing about it being a closed group, though, is that we do have to approve you. We encourage you to to invite your friends who are interested in ISEP or in study abroad in general to join as well. However, because we get a lot of requests to join the group, make sure that in your or your friends' Facebook profiles that you list your home university as the university you attend, so that we know that you are a legitimate student who attends one of our member institutions, and that you're not gonna, join the group and try to sell us watches or something. It happens. Another thing you can do is take pictures or videos of your home campus to share with us. Our students, you guys, you love taking pictures, and we love to see them. There's a photo contest that you may have heard of that we run every year, and we love seeing those photos, but usually they're not of people's campuses. Which is hard because we do get a lot of requests from students who want to know what it's like to study at a particular university. So, challenge yourself, go out and tell yourself, hey, what would I have liked to see if I was a student coming to this university? What does a virtual day in the life of a student look like here? You can take pictures, you can take videos, be as creative as you want, and you can always share it with share these things with us on Instagram if they're photos. Make sure you tag ISEP Study Abroad. You can either tag our account, which is ISEP Study Abroad, or use hashtags using the hashtag ISEP Study Abroad. You can also submit videos via our blog. And photos and videos are not the only thing you can do. You can also write about your ISEP experience. We do have a blog that I will show you shortly, and that is a collection of a variety of things, including student stories. Nancy mentioned this earlier, but I will say it again, and I say it very enthusiastically. The student story is what's really important to ISEP. We really, really care about the experience that you've had, and we really genuinely are so thrilled that you want to share it with other students. It means a lot to us. You can submit a blog post about anything that you want. Some contests that might be coming up in the months to come might have specific prompts about specific topics or things that you may have learned when you were abroad. But you can always submit as many blog posts as you want. We limit each blog post to 500 words to try and focus the scope of what you are writing about. It's a little challenge, but it's a great source of information for prospective students, for parents, for coordinators. I know that some of you have already submitted blog posts, and we encourage you to continue doing that throughout the year as you are kind of digesting your study abroad experience. Another thing we'll ask you to do is answer email questions from prospective students. I'm going to switch and show you what the blog looks like now. One of the things that I'm really close up there. Sorry. One of the things that we, where it is? Okay, over here. One of the things that we do, I think this is what I want. Can you see? Oh yeah, one of the things that we want you to do is answer questions on when you filled out your welcome form. You probably you gave us a picture of yourself so that we can post a bio on the blog. So what you would do, prospective student, what a prospective student does, like, gee, I really want to study abroad with ISEP. Yes. So they're like, man, and I really want to study in Europe. So they're going to go to contact an ISEP ambassador, go to Europe, and they're going to say, like, man, this guy went to Germany and he looked like he had fun. I'm going to click. And your contact information, your email will be there, and they can email you and ask you questions. So we ask that you respond to those inquiries as they come in based on blog analytics. There's not like a million of them, so it's totally manageable. And as I mentioned earlier, for if you want to submit a blog post, there's a button up here that lets you do that, and there's a variety of resources for you, a list of suggested topics, some guidelines, be reasonable, and you don't have to talk about your crazy time where you did illegal things. Please don't talk about that. Talk about the things that you learned instead. And then there's a submission form where you can actually write your blog post, tell us about yourself, and then send it through. And then if you write it, you get published, and it's very exciting if we select it. All right. Switching back to the PowerPoint. Bear with me. All right. Another thing you can do is, as Nancy mentioned earlier, share your story with webinars or Google Hangouts, either at the request of ISEP staff who want to maybe promote a particular program. Maybe you studied abroad at Savoie and we really need to, would like to hold an informational session online about Savoie, so we'll ask you to either participate live or maybe record something ahead of time for us to share. Or maybe you know that there are lots of people who are interested in learning more about studying abroad at ISEP, like a bunch of your friends, and all of you are really busy and you're having trouble to find a time to all meet together, so you can have a Google Hangout and kind of advise people that way. So I'm going to hand it off to Kaylee, who's going to talk to you about activity logs, because we just gave you a lot of ideas for things you can do, but we want to know that you're doing it, because we want to celebrate your successes as ambassadors.
Okay, thank you, Zoe. Before I get into the activity logs, I want to show you some resources available to you on the ISEP website. So on the screen here, we have a screenshot of the ambassador page. So in order to access that, you would just go to isep.org, and then you go into students. Okay, and we'll actually go in and do that right now. Okay, just bear with me for a moment. And hello. Okay. I just need some assistance. Okay, thanks, Chris. All right, so in order to get to this page, we started at isep.org, and then we go over to students. Over in alumni, there's a page devoted to the ambassadors, and we have some great resources available. So we'll be updating the information on this site for you throughout the semesters, throughout the academic year. You can also see the Ambassador of the Year that I think Alex mentioned, Natalie Ferguson. But here in Tools for Download, we have, I remember Alex also spoke about the prospective student sign-in sheet. So that's a way to collect email addresses either for your home university's study abroad office, or also in order to send it along to ISEP Central. We may be collecting those throughout your semesters. Okay, so I'm going to go into the activity log here. As Zoe mentioned, this is a way that we can help keep track of all of these activities that we're teaching you to do and to celebrate your accomplishments. We're so excited to see you doing all of this, and we just really want to be involved. We always want you to share with us what you're doing, and we want to be able to share it with other ambassadors. So yes, as I said, this is just a way for us to know what you're doing on campus and on social media. So what you'll be doing, you can just submit activities and just tell us what you're doing. This could be something like arranging an event with an international club, or it could be something smaller, like with smaller scope, like having a conversation with a prospective student. So we'd welcome any and all of this information just to keep in touch with you. And then also, if you do have an event that you're really proud of, that you spend a lot of time on, you might want to share that planning process with another ambassador. So that's a great way to spread the word and to spread good events that you're working on, and to really get in touch with your colleagues and with your peers. Okay. So then also, I should mention that the activity log is what we base our Ambassador of the Year prize on. So we always take a look at these activity logs that you submit. We share them amongst ourselves. We share them with your home coordinators. And at the end of the year, this is what we choose the Ambassador of the Year from. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the PowerPoint. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. So yes, here's that tools for download page again, and we'll be sending out this PowerPoint presentation for all of you at the end. And this has the links at the bottom of the screen here that you see. Okay. So now we also want to talk about how to make the most of the Ambassador program. Okay, so we do, as we all mentioned, we have the monthly contests, we have the Ambassador of the Year awards. We'll be sending out information about the first contest soon, which we're very excited about, and then the Ambassador of the Year with the activity logs. Another very important thing that the Ambassador program brings you is a community. So you'll be part of that Facebook group. You'll be part of so many conversations with other ambassadors, with other students. And I know that it's just great to have coming back onto campus after being abroad. You want someone to talk to, you want someone to share your experience with, and this is just the perfect way to do it. So we hope that you really take advantage of it and get involved. And then we also have the resume building and interview tips. So we want you to be able to use your experience as an ambassador to think about careers you might like, to help you get jobs and internships and into graduate programs. So we'll be posting resume and interview tips and resources throughout the year. There's some tips already on that ambassador page that I showed you earlier. So take a look through that, and you really might find some useful things moving into possibly graduation. And then we're also planning on holding a webinar in the spring, similar to this one, about how to highlight the work that you've done as an ambassador and how to market yourself in interviews and resumes. We have some examples listed here. You're really going to be working on your public speaking skills if you're an on-campus ambassador, event planning if you're working with other students and with international clubs on campus. If you're an online or an on-campus, you'll be building a writing portfolio if you're interested in that, or even with posting pictures. We just always welcome all of that, and we look forward to working with you to market yourselves from it. And then lastly, you're working to support diversity on your campus. When you were abroad, you experienced it, and now that you're on your home campus, you're part of making everyone feel welcome there, and and we always strive to support diversity here at ISEP. Okay, so now I think that people have been sending us questions throughout, so I'm going to open it up to the questions.
All right, I'm going to bring it back to us so you don't have to look at the PowerPoint anymore. Our first question was about how do you know if you're an on-campus or online ambassador? And I'm going to let Zoe answer. Oh, hi.
Yes, I can
Okay.
answer that. Thank you.
Sorry.
Hi. So we have a question about how do you know whether you're an online or a on-campus ambassador? The most recent email that you should have received, I know I sent you a few in the last few days reminding you to fill out your welcome form and to attend the session. The most recent email that I scheduled to go out at 7 a.m. this morning. So check your inboxes, check your spam, make sure that you add ambassadors@isep.org to your safe list. The most recent email will have PDFs that you can click on that will let you know which one you are. If you don't see your name on either of those lists, please email ambassadors@isep.org and we will get you sorted. Thanks.
All right.
Going back to a question from this morning, Anna asked, how many activities are expected of each ambassador?
Zoe again.
No? Yeah, I can answer. In terms of activities that we expect from each ambassador, we know that you guys are busy, high-achieving students. That's why you are ambassadors. Yay! But what we really want you to do is to do the maximum that you can. At the very minimum, for on-campus ambassadors, we really ask that you participate in your study abroad fair. That is, the best way for you to reach the maximum of students for us to be able to follow up with. So that's really, really helpful to us. In terms of online ambassadors, we ask that you submit at least one blog post and to really be responsive and this goes for everyone actually, to really be responsive to any requests that you may get from ISEP Central staff in terms of help for content that they might need from you or participation in any kinds of webinars or online info sessions. We know sometimes it's hard, and if we reach out to you and it's midterms and you're like, hey, I have a test tomorrow, I can't do it, totally understand. That's totally okay. But at the same time, we really hope that you can support us and we will reciprocate and support you in your resume building skills.
All right, we have a number of other questions coming in. Let's see. Olivia asks, how do we submit an address correction for the welcome form?
Oh, just email just email ambassadors@isep.org. I have a hard time remembering that for some reason. So ambassadors@isep.org with the correction, and we'll take care of that administrative piece.
Great. Another question comes from Hannah. She asks, what are the criteria for being chosen as an online or on-campus ambassador?
Sure. So the ambassador application and approval process, in order to be an online student ambassador, you need to fill out an application, and then it needs to be approved by your program officer at ISEP, and as well as your home coordinator. And sometimes coordinators, especially if they're working out of small offices, while you are would be helping them in promoting ISEP on campus, might not have the staff time to help manage an ISEP ambassador or a peer advisor program. So the reason that there are online or on-campus ambassadors is that, some coordinators have told us, I'm sorry, I don't have the time to manage an ambassador. However, I would still really like for our, an ambassador to be able to be a resource and be managed fully by ISEP. So when you're managed fully by ISEP, because we're located in DC and you guys are all over the world, it's a lot easier for us to, encourage you to participate in online activities, because that's something that we have access to that we don't have access to your campus. So I hope that answers that question.
Great. Our next question comes from Laura. She's asking about the blog. If there are multiple ambassadors that were at the same host institution, will they all be on the blog for students to contact, or will there just be one representative?
Sure, that's a great question. They will all be on the blog. Sorry, they're all great questions. They will all be on the blog. Some of you might have different fields of study, so it could be that a student searches the blog for engineering because they're an engineering student, and we do put your field of study on the blog bio for students to be able to search by. So I mean, maybe several of you studied at Marburg, but one of you studied art and the other one studied biology. So depending on the student's field of study, they might have really different questions, which is why we'll still put everybody up on there.
Great, and we do have time for just a few more questions, so if you have more, do add them there in the comment section. But a question from email, if students at fairs want more information about ISEP, who should I tell them to contact?
Okay, I'll take that one. Contact either ambassadors at isep.org. You can also ask them to follow us on all of our social media. They can contact us through Twitter, through our Facebook page. Additionally, when you're collecting email addresses at study abroad fairs, you're going to have a sign-up sheet so students can give their email and write down a little bit of information about themselves, such as what their field of study is and where they're interested in going, and then the proper staff member can get back to that student to answer any advising questions he or she might have. Okay, one more question.
Great. Can I talk to my Spanish class about ISEP and study abroad?
Jeanne d'Arc, she's the expert on on-campus activities.
Absolutely. We do want you to talk to your Spanish class, and we want you to talk to many more other classes about your ISEP experience. One way to do that is to go and reach out to your instructor right away and express the desire to share your study abroad experience with the classroom. I can bet you that they will be more than delighted to give you a few minutes of the class time to engage students about study abroad. You can also go to your study abroad advisor and have them help you set up a session, an information session with your own classroom and also with other classrooms. That's one of the activities that we mentioned earlier that you can do, classroom presentations. So it's definitely feasible, and you can do so in those two ways. Good, great question.
All right, I think that's all of the questions that we have today. Again, if you do have more questions as you go through the process and start thinking of ideas, please feel free to email us, ambassadors@isep.org. Otherwise, thank you again for joining us, and we hope you have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.